Thank you for watching. My name is Rasha, and today I want to talk about the cycle of domestic violence, which entails 3 phases. The first one being tension building, the second is where the abuse happens, and then the third is where the apologies and the excuses are made and what is known as the honeymoon phase. During the tension building period, the victim feels that they need to walk on eggshells around their partner because they feel like an outburst is about to happen pretty soon. They do everything in their power in order to not upset the abuser. The abuser starts to utter threats, starts to isolate the victim by distancing them from their friends and family, starts to direct their violence, maybe not directly at the victim, but things like punching the wall, throwing objects at the victim as well. The second phase is where the abuse happens. This is where we see the psychological, sexual, physical, and financial abuse happen. So the third phase is the excuses and the apologies. This is where we see the abuser making excuses, buying gifts for their partner, taking them out on romantic dates in order to minimize their experience as well as take back that control if they feel that the victim is maybe even starting to decide to leave the relationship. This is a way to entrap them in the cycle in the first place, giving the victim the hope that they might change and they actually might seek help, saying things like, well, maybe I'll just go to therapy, I'll get better, I promise it'll never happen again. This is the side of the abuser that the victim gives that glimmer of hope, and maybe that things will go back to the way that they were when they had first met, showing that personality and that romantic side that maybe they might have fallen in love with in the beginning. So there's no time frame within these phases. What that means is sometimes they can last days, weeks, or months, either in the tension building, the abuse itself, or the apologies. If the abuser feels that the victim might be deciding to leave, we see that the excuses and the apologies phase might last longer in order to give that victim the hope that they actually are changing. The abuse is calculated and exerted in a way to repeat the cycle in a way for the victim to stay in this toxic relationship. We do see that it takes between 7 to 12 times of leaving an abusive relationship in order for the victim to sever all ties with the abuser. There's also other factors that we have to take into account if somebody decides to stay in a relationship, which includes the couple maybe having children together and also financially. The financial aspect is where the victim might not have access to funds in order to leave the relationship, might not have anywhere to go, or might not have a proper support system. It's really important for the victim to identify the cycle of domestic violence because it'll let them know that an abuser never changes. They might give you that hope and that indication that they might change, but a lot of the times it doesn't happen. So to sever all ties with the abuser is always the best way to go. If someone is disclosing to you that they are in an abusive situation or they have left one, you never want to ask questions like, well, why did you stay? Or why didn't you leave in the first place? This can be very damaging for the morale of a victim that has left an abusive relationship because somehow they are taking the blame for what happened when it is not known the situation that they were in when they were in that abusive relationship. It's really important to know that there's a lot of factors that come into someone staying in an abusive relationship, and we just never need to judge their decision. You always need to show a lot of empathy for somebody who is experiencing abuse. Just know that there is always help, and there's a lot of resources that you can reach out to in your local communities. If you want to learn more about our initiative, our organization, please head to www.nadiashopefoundation.com. Thank you for watching.